We've just been out looking at some potential projects and now we're on the hunt for some coffee. And Cal said to me, why don't you answer that question on camera, the one you always get asked? And I thought, why not? If you're watching my videos for the first time, my name is Saj Hussain, and on this channel I share with you my 15 years of property investing experience to ultimately help you get further, faster in your property investing journey.
Saj, as you know, we get to see a lot of feedback, great feedback, comments and inquiries in the office. And the most common one I see is, how do you get started in property with some money? There's a lot of people who are passionate about getting into property. How would you answer that?
That's a great question, and it's something we do see a lot. A lot of people ask that question. It's a case of, where do you get started? How do you start? How do you get your foot onto the property ladder? And I would say start with what I always say, we start with the end in mind. And what I mean by that is have some clarity in terms of what you're trying to achieve. What is it you're trying to do by getting involved in property? Often for many people, it's two key things. It's either they're trying to build up an extra additional income, that means it's surplus over above their job, for example, just an extra income they're earning, or it means they're trying to build something for the long term. Maybe it's capital growth they're trying to do, maybe it's a pension, they're trying to supplement something for the longer term. So it's either immediate cash flow or growth for the long term, generally one of those two things. Now, in this country, we've seen for many, many decades, the prices constantly rise, they're going up all the time. And this is why people get fascinated and interested in property, because the amount of money and the wealth that you can create there just isn't really anything else comparable to it for the long term. So when you're getting started, what I would say, look at the current climate right now, what we're in. It's a strong market, it's very buoyant, the prices are high, there's not a huge amount of stock available. So look at what is it that you can access right now that would help you, make it easier for you. So one of the easiest things right now to think about is the new 95% mortgages that Boris Johnson is announcing that he's going to be rolling out in a few weeks' time. So if you're new and you don't own any property at the moment, how can you tap into that? How can you use that? If you're purchasing, say, your home on a 95% mortgage, it means you're not going to have to put a huge amount down. And obviously it depends, of course, on your affordability, what you're going to be able to afford to be able to purchase. It doesn't mean you're going to be able to buy anything that you like. It's really, you still got to purchase something within your means. But think about purchasing something that's maybe a little bit bigger than what you need. So for example, if you're looking for a 2-bedroom property, think about, could a 3-bedroom one be within your means to be able to purchase? And if you can, then you're potentially opening up the opportunity to be able to rent out that additional room that you've got that you're not using, or maybe having some flatmates, depending on how you set this up. So now that you're creating an income, that may even be enough to cover your mortgage payments each month, and really you're then living for free. So if you've got a small amount of money that you're using, you're putting down as a deposit, you're purchasing your first home, and that money is then tied up, but now actually you're starting to get an income, which maybe you can start saving towards your next property that will be moving forward. Because for many people, even if they've got a small pot of cash, but once they put that down, they purchase a property, that's it. The money's gone. How are you going to move on to the next one? How are you going to get on to the third one? So this is what I would do, is think about right now, what is it you can benefit from? What's accessible and available to you right now? 95% mortgages, small deposits, being able to rent out a room, potentially also being able to do that tax-free and generate that income. That's what I would say. If you're getting started, that's the place to start.
Cool.
If you enjoyed this content, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel and enable the notification bell. That way YouTube will notify you when we're releasing these videos.
Saj, I see a lot of inquiries come in, a lot of comments about where to start, what strategies to use. I hear them ask about flips, HMO, BRR, rent to rent. What would you say to these people who are trying to find their way and trying to pick a strategy?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's another great question, and it's a great point to stop and film our wrap video at the same time. But just before we do the wrap video, in terms of strategy, look, often people will follow somebody and they'll say, I like what they're doing, I want to do the same. Well, I said, well, that isn't always the best thing to do. For example, when I got started in my property journey, one of the things I started doing was learning lots about property from different people. And what that meant was I'd see somebody doing a specific strategy and I think that's the thing I need to be doing, that's going to be my route to success, and just copy what they're doing. But often you don't see the many, many years of challenges and struggles people have done to be able to build that, and those you see that are doing overnight success. The reality is there is no overnight success. It takes a lot of effort, but what will help you and build and accelerate your path is by finding the right strategy for you. So how do you find the right strategy? Well, there's a number of factors you need to think about. So for example, how much money you might be starting with is going to have a big determining factor which way you go, which is going to be the right strategy. Also, how much time you are going to bring to the table. If you've got a full-time job, you're going to be doing this full-time, you're going to be trying to squeeze in a couple of hours in the evening, and then also think about where you're based in the country. Why is that relevant? Well, for example, the strategies that are working right now here in Birmingham might be very different to what's working in Newcastle up north, or very different to what's working down in southeast in London. So it's getting the location right is also going to have an impact. And of course, we've got to look at the cycle, the property cycle. The property is cyclical and it moves and changes. And currently we're in this price rise, and it's a very strong and buoyant market, which means if you're looking, for example, to find discounted below market value property 25%, you're going to find it much more difficult in this market. So when you put all these things together, you're able to find which is going to be the right strategy for you. So it's not just as easy as saying, here, this is the one, just follow this. This person doing lease options, just go and copy them doing lease options, or this one over here is doing HMOs, you should just do the same thing. You've got to think out which strategy is going to be the right one for you, because all strategies work, but it's finding the timing and also what skills, ability you're going to bring to the table. For instance, if you're somebody that loves being out, speaking to people, you're going to be great negotiating with vendors, with agents, but if you're much more introverted, then you're going to find it much more difficult being put into a situation where, for example, you're negotiating. Because if you're an introverted type person, you're going to find that just much more uncomfortable. It doesn't mean you can't do it, but you're creating an uphill struggle. So it's finding the things that are going to suit you to be able to get the results ultimately that you're trying to achieve.
Saj, we're in the office now, and I get to see a lot of comments, a lot of feedbacks, a lot of inquiries, especially around your YouTube channel. The one thing that stands out the most is a lot of people are saying they learn a lot more from your content than the paid courses, than the stuff that they've paid for. How important is knowledge and education?
Great question. So first of all, I love that feedback when people are saying to me, they're learning so much more from my free stuff that they're watching, and even more than the stuff that they paid for. I remember a video I did probably about 7 years ago now on my YouTube channel around rent to rent. And the first time somebody commented, they said, I did a course and they didn't teach me as much as you've taught me on your free video. And I guess for me, we're in an age now where information is abundant. And when I think about knowledge and education, particularly around property, I break it down to 3 key parts. So firstly, it's training. And what that is having the knowledge on how to do something. Yeah. And there's an abundant amount of it now, and there's so much of it actually on my YouTube channel. There's many other great channels as well, and there's lots of other people that share knowledge on how to do stuff. And there's many that will hold, not hold stuff back and give away freely, and there are some that will hold back as well because they've got other motives in terms of what they want you to do. But ultimately, there's no shortage of knowledge. It's out there, whether it's books, whether it's online, or whatever it might be. There's plenty of knowledge out there. However, sometimes we might know what we need to do, but we don't actually do it. And that's where sometimes coaching can help. And really what a coach is doing is they're helping you get the best out of yourself. So for example, a tennis coach may not necessarily be better than the person they're coaching. So you could have a world-class tennis player, but they've got a coach helping them be even better. But the coach isn't necessarily better, but they're good at helping that person get the best out of themselves. So I see it as more reflective. And then the third part of this is more mentoring. Mentoring is really where the person doing the guiding and the support, they've already achieved what you want to do. So what that enables you to do is really help you get there faster, and secondly, avoid mistakes. And that's how I tend to break this down, this idea of knowledge and education. I break it down into 3 sectors. It's either training, which is information. It's either coaching, which is support, reflective support, or it's mentoring, which is somebody that's already experienced what they you want to do, and they can help you with that. And I primarily focus on mentoring, which is what I tend to do, which is I help people really implement the knowledge. And I know there's some gaps in knowledge, and I'm looking to try and see what we can do to help people further in helping more information for them. But ultimately, if you think about it in that way, then you'll know which is the right one for you, because they're all different and people work and think about things and process information in different ways. If you'd like for me to help you with your property investing journey and ultimately help you get further faster, then make sure you ping me a message and let's see what we can do to help you with that. I've really enjoyed doing this content. It's been a slightly different style vlog. And if you've enjoyed this, then you're really going to like what I've got lined up next for you. I've got a video here for you to watch. But just before you go and do that, make sure you click on my face down here to subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss out on all this great content that we're putting out.